You know, I'm not even sorry. Just that is so good. You want to smell it? It's amazing. It'll bring you right down to earth. You know, woo! It'll sober up anyway. There you go. All right, we're all done, everyone. In the moment, your friend does the same thing and she holds her hand up to you and you're like, no, that's disgusting. But you just, I know, but that's my ass. This is a totally different ass. It stinks. You narcissistic pagan is like, welcome to the world. When you have your head up its ass, it gets to have his head up your ass, and you never get to have any fun. Some people riding their bikes, I wonder where they're going. But you can just see by their pleasant aspect, they know where they're going. A lot of times people know where they're going. I know where I'm going. I really, really do. And when I finally get there, I'll let you know. No, I won't. I don't want you to find me there. It'll be a place so fair, where song rolls from my lips. I'll never have to work unless I really want to. Even if I'm poor, I'll find such richness in simple things. My whole life's wealth will be in whatever else I find when I come home to those I love. Even if I don't have any money, 'cause I live with my mom. And I've never had a girlfriend, never been touched with affection. It didn't rob me of my life. You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away. Yeah, you do. Know when to run, know when to make every little notch of your life something generally tending in the direction, like a safety engineer, that it takes you away from all of the various narcissistic women you ever know. Carefully, 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 one day after the next, declination, ascension. Next thing you know, the best minutes of your life are the first few minutes in the day and the last few minutes in the day. And you can say, with every second, you're getting farther and farther away from that miserable cunt. Doesn't that feel good, everyone? Oh, I love it. Let's get away from the miserable cunts. Yay, let's get away from miserable cunts. And every day that goes by, we are allowed to cry. I'm really much better when I'm not around women that I never would have put a child. Love, exciting and new. I love both. I hope I'm not inside you. Love both. Maybe it's just a gravy boat where they're waiting for you. Come swim in a pool full of deep dark brown liquid too. That's what we'll call it, number 2. Number 2. I wonder how the number 2 became poop. Like number 2, because number 2 has got lots of bad things attached to it, but yet it is one of the best numbers in nature. All the best things come into it. 2 is the number of completion. It's the number of completion, right? Right, the alpha and the omega is basically 1 and 2, right? Completion. It was like a 1-2 punch. It's like, well, it's really the same thing. It's like a Sun Wu kind of 1-2. It's like 1-2. It's like completion. Da-da, da-da. Completion. Da-da, da-da. Done. Completion. Complete. Whole. Done. Finished. Satisfied. 1, 2. So in the sense of like the number 2 being completion, yes. A completion of something. Satisfying number 2. the man is unfriendly and the woman is too friendly. They do like to smile at the men like that. Like, it really is more aggression than arousal, from women when they like me. It's more. I don't think white people realize that their sense of excitement or sense of being friendly with the opposite sex is mostly in native mammalian body language, aggression. The amount of white people, I've had white people laugh at this, so I don't say this to you, who think that baring their teeth when they take a picture, which you might say, well, that's not necessarily right. It is when they do it. That's the problem. It is when you do it, white people, when you bare your teeth all the time. Like every advertisement you see, celebrities and think like baring your teeth. And I'm just like, to me, I just feel aggression in that. Like the white smile, it's always a smile of aggression. It's like, they never smile, but there's some aggression hidden behind it. I hate smiling for white people when they take pictures. And I don't. I don't smile naturally in front of the camera because there's something about the camera and demanding that you behave a certain way. What did white people say? Smile for the camera. So the camera gets to tell you to do something with your body that's not honest. Like, don't be honest. Be fake. Smile like you really don't mean it. Cheese. Right? And the idea of being cheesy is being fake. It's not really honest. It's just nice. Right? And so, like, what is photography? It's to take a picture of the soul. It's to take a picture of a human when they're putting out a lot of fake, potentially very aggressive or deadly energy. Putting a smile on everything. Nothing is ever so deadly in the white world that they don't rank on rank. Put a smile on it. A happy face all over it. Hey, the happy face is there. Turn that frown upside down. Smile. And a camera is often the tool that they use to do that with. Smile. I had a white woman when I was in the back of my family's car, right, in the shade. She bent over in front of the car, caught my attention, stared at me, and said, smile. Right? And that to me perfectly encapsulates how women see me and how their language of fakeness. Right? That they smile because they want to elicit from you a smile. That woman smiled and I just sort of waved and I didn't smile back. I'm not going to submit to you. Right? It's an aggressive thing. They're excited. You can see in them there's every expectation that no woman would want a man to have of a woman because he looks at her that way and smiles. Right? If I looked at a woman that way, I wouldn't expect her to smile back. It's creepy. Right? So there's lots of different kinds of smiles from white people that I don't like. I don't like smiling and being white. I'm not a smiling white person. I'm not into smiling. Like, I'm not into fucking hugging. It's like their hugs. Even their hugs are fucking aggressive. There's always an agenda. They can't even hug without a fucking agenda. Hugs, Fucking, I hate being hugged by white women. It's so fake, it's fucking incredible. Imagine what their kissing and fucking is like. I mean, it just gets worse from there. No white woman ever saw a boy whether she wanted to rape him. They don't know how to have sex. How can you have sex as a white woman and be a white woman at the same time? Answer, you can't. Because a white woman never gets to be herself. Least of all when she's having sex. And letting herself go. Is it really worth seeing that smile of pleasure on her face? Like a smile of a righteous courtesan. It's kind of like a happy Nazi. Kind of a dichotomy there. Oxymoron. There's nothing more scary to me than a white woman who thinks that I can be a source of satisfaction to her. Sexual or otherwise. It's like they've all read the Cannibal's Guide to Sexual Satisfaction. or Hannibal Lecter's Guide to Dating. I know what you're thinking. You're such a romantic. I bet you didn't expect I was going to say. Expect the unexpected, people. Who? Number twos. Total satisfaction. It all comes out in the end. Right? So the number two means total satisfaction. So it means poo because your poo has to do with, it's a biological connection to total satisfaction. 1, 2. Right? You eat, you poop. Right? Today, that's the second thing that's happened that's given me a sense of completion. One, at the ceremonial place for Buddy, my mother and me, and two, doing the number poo while, passing through. Oh, look. Again, another sign of completion. The bird singing. Just processing different forms of sexual harassment on women, which is like not something I really feel even comfortable saying because I'm an honest person. I realize that that's not going to sound honest to a lot of people. You're like, what are you calling sexual harassment? Well, let's just say, put it in the category of the broad industrial effects of how people tend to behave to other people and how you could feel about it, even if it doesn't make sense to anyone. And you at least just want to be allowed to say it with some definitive sense of honesty that doesn't pretend to be something that anyone could understand, unless they themselves face similar types of sexual harassment from a gender. That fits within sort of polite behavior, the way fucking a gun to the head fits in with polite behavior. In certain parts of the world. Like, oh, just joking. I was going to shoot you, but not really. I scared you there for a second, didn't I? Because sociopaths and sexual predators, in the incarnation of any kind of normal human vernacular, say among white women, okay, will always shock you and humiliate you. Sometimes in the first minute of having a chance to comfortably interact with you. There's always there's some sort of part of their body language that's just shocking, humiliating, overly aggressive, too far into your space, overly familiar, all those types of things. Boom, boom, boom. Whether you think it's because they're nervous or they're breaking the ice or whatever it is, they'll lie, they'll humiliate, they'll do something strange, they'll say something strange quickly, quietly, under their breath, right? And they have to release this signal. It's kind of like a stench. It's like they're putting a pin in the fact that, if necessary, they would enjoy hurting you and taking what they want from you. As long as you play it back like a normal white person and you pretend like nothing happens, which is what they all do. No, nothing really happened here. There's nothing really wrong with this. And it sort of becomes, it's like a parasite. It wants to arouse what? The suspension of disbelief. Right? They paralyze you. Say something, do something so awful, you just don't know what to do. So you just let it go by. Right? And so whatever skills you have now are going to be focused upon being able to tell yourself in all honesty how that 2 seconds really felt. And whether or not you think in some sense that person is a sexual predator. And that's something along the lines of how they've treated a lot of people in their life. And whether they know it or not, it's habitual. And in some sense it means they like you. Just like a dog biting you in the balls means they like you. Like, oh, they like you. People think their dog's doing something really aggressive and it's like, oh no, they're just being friendly. It's like, like the fucking atom bomb is friendly. It's just, peaceful foreign relations. It's based, and you might, in such cases, be inclined to think it's only based on how you feel. And there's nothing else you could really prove because languages belong to groups, and never more so when they're violent. And a language includes a spectrum of brain development and what people are going to see and hear. The language itself and the culture, as they intersect, can become incredible tools. The way people talk about structural bias, the language and the body language of various groups under various compulsions can be extremely exacting in their ability to deliver violence to any number of people and never hear about it. This is considered a nationalistic pathology by George Orwell. The national pathology. It's a political ponerology. It's a way that a psychopathic spectrum of higher human development for industrial and religious purposes loses the ability in extremely intelligent ways that will confound your ability to understand how anyone could ever learn how to do this, much less do it with such effectiveness and with such a range of compatibility with so many different types of people, of like from the good police officer to the bad police officer in any group of human beings. And yet, they don't hear and see this type of thing. If their toasters blow up, they hear it. If a fart goes off in Lepton Centauri, the world has to hear about it in the New York Times. But nobody hears about how humans go off on other humans, in ways that apparently just is too metaphysical for the average science fiction enthusiast. There you go. This is too busy, too many cars, I can't close. Okay, down to the path here. I think that's some good stuff. Academic. It takes a whole day to get to this kind of stuff. I found now, I don't know, it's like chicken or the egg. Like, my best work is done on camera instead of the computer. And I don't really enjoy the prospect of sharing it with the world. It feels very malformed. It's like, who's going to listen to me burping and crapping and talking about crapping and working my way back into root pathology and political monology? I don't think that's really made for the common YouTube enthusiast. I think there's people out there in the future that want to hear all about it. My children, maybe, or a colony of misanthropic malcontents who hear me pontificate about sexual abuse and why I can't work for a living till the end of their days. It's like, no, just earning my vittles. I think we've done well. I need to have lunch down here, so I'm gonna go somewhere I can sit fairly quickly under a tree, have some privacy, eat some protein. I need to take my load off. I've been walking and talking for a while. Well, notice that the camera probably doesn't have a correct aspect or orientation. I'm quite aware of it. I don't do anything about it. This is a labor of love, I'm sure. I'm not terribly focused on the ASMR quality sound and the cinematic precision of some kind of YouTube that you would watch. Just the voice, man. Nothing but the voice. The voice. It's weird, they have a show called The Voice, but no one ever really talks. It's just like humans are never piping in unedited human honesty, from catharsis to conniptions of cadaverous cuneiform of cunning linguistics that nobody really needs to listen to or understand, but they could feel some kind of smarmy contentment. And when they were not supposed to comprehend anything that someone as smart as they would take from someone as smart as me, and together we would be smart together and hate the little people. I understand him. There'd be a group of people watching this and be like, but I understand everything he says. I totally know where he's coming from. It's like purple magic all over. Purple magic. He's got the way. I like him. He's got a kind of I understand the man, the sun, everything, the earth, his way of talking, his sense of what is free, what is safe, what is small, what is large, what is good and what is right and wrong, and God taken down on the cross and put beneath our feet as the only animal that really has ever been a problem for mankind. It's the one that isn't, properly speaking, even an animal, but an animal of the mind that has been raised up like the flags of the devil himself over the hard-working man, and putting his hand in his pocket, these many hands of Vishnu reaching down into your sperm bank, taking the testosterone jerk out of your people. Okay. Oh, man. My grandfathers wouldn't approve of my way of life, but I think they can benefit from it. And that's what's important. Not that we would like to trade occupations, but that we could have some mutual benefit from anything truly honest about man's occupations. And let it first be honest, and second be gainful employment. And you'll find that a great deal of the richest harvest of man will come from employment that is focused on honesty. It's not like you expect a lawyer to be more honest than the average person. So what do you think about the logical extent of your labors, that they would finally reach a sufficient amount of money to pay your bills if you became a professional liar? Bowing to the benches and magistrates of the land, which are basically glorified tax collectors. Look at this, a beautiful feather. For God's beautiful tax collectors. Oh, please, tax collector, please reduce the pains and suffering, because no one in the legal industry does a crime, but that you agree to suffer from it in a way that the legal establishment considers something worth anyone's attention in terms of understanding the cause and effect relationships between what the world demands from human beings and how humans suffer, and only when you choose to suffer in the way that allows you to even possibly seek a remedy for it. And, you know what I mean? And a remedy, writ large, with something that listens to human suffering and understands what's causing it. Do you understand that how weird it is that no one does that? Like, we should actually know why humans suffer. Don't you think? We can totally do that. Are you supposed to do it? Am I supposed to do it? Were the Christians supposed to do it? The psychiatrist? Who's doing that? Who's doing that job? If I was the general of the world, I'm like, okay, and who's doing this job, and who's doing that job, and okay, now who's trying to figure out where all the suffering is starting, where it's all coming from? No one, sir. What? No one? What's the budget for that? $0. We don't really do, sir. Fire everybody. And bring me Hillary Clinton. I need her to suck my giraffe's penis. Yes, sir. It's just ridiculous, you know? It's just totally ridiculous. Of course we can solve all human suffering. Of course we can. But first you have to fucking acknowledge it. The system, the banking system, doesn't care how much you suffer. At least not in your mass proportions, if you will. The more people suffer from cancer, the less the banks are going to give a fuck. You know, if one guy suddenly got cancer, it'd be on the nightly fucking news. Man dying from strange flesh-eating disorder. We think he ate too much Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. We're looking into it. What? We're looking into his asshole right now. And what we see definitely disturbs us. We see crap here from 1985. No, it's a dog barking. Little beat to the dog. I just gotta eat. I'm so hungry. Oh. I wonder if there's any scatological mystery on. I think Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a bit of water. Jack took a crap, and Jill saw that it was good and wanted to eat it. And Jack is like, Jill, how could you? Me first. Then you both went to sleep and had a dream about a future school system where children could all be raised by the government. They would be fed enough crap, they would lose their taste for real food. When they saw it or heard it, they would turn up their noses and say, I understand everything about the socioeconomic industrial complex, but I don't understand you. You're a freak. No one's ever died believing what you believe, so you must be a bad person. The thing is, you can't get away in the Western world. Everyone dies believing what people in the Western world believe. It's a fact, right? You get raped. In every religion of the world, you get raped believing what you believe. You get raped. Rape is part of the fruit of your tree of knowledge. You're like, rape's the fruit. Rape's the fruit. You get rape and disease and domestic abuse, alcoholism, prison industry and poverty, gangs, more domestic abuse and quiet, miserable lassitudes in your fellow man, punctuated with fits of incredible sacrifice and labor, followed by beer, cigarettes, and pick-up hockey games down at the local Y. Possibly to relive your child and possibly to celebrate your manhood, by shooting tennis balls at high speed into the forehead of your neighbor Joe, who forgot to bring his mask today. In all those little ways that people visit kind of little sadistic things upon each other because life's tough. You got to get yours somewhere. Attack the basket. Attack the basket. Your country will die. You'll be a pussy if you don't attack it. The ball is a grenade. Shove it in there. Make those gooks die. Shove it in their faces. Bam, in your face. When did humans become so in your face? In your face. Oh my Lord. Oh, hopefully nobody comes. Least of all me. Okay. Oh my God. I'm gonna smoke a fresh joint here. What a day. This is my cool down zone. I'm just like, fuck, that's a lot of walking. It says private property, no trespassing. It's weird, sometimes you sit in places in nature and you can kind of pretend like it's 100 years ago. I always thought, like, people sometimes think of the ancient past, like when they think of woods and being out by yourself, but I mean, it could be in the future, it could be anywhere. But it takes you in the past in a good way. And the past that is a better place, closer to human roots. And you still had all the kind of modern conveniences that were truly useful, but you had this place in time that you could be safe and life could be magical again. You still had to chop wood. There was still a hard winter ahead, but you, your mother and father, you were up to the task. And it paid back such dividends as you found a kind of heaven upon the earth. Some people call that romanticism. Some call it the prerequisite for the annals of the Luddite. It could lead to the misanthrope, even the criminal. I've met a lot of like sort of middle class grifters and stuff, and criminals and alcoholics, and they do have a lot of magical thinking. You wonder, like, and any person who gets away with anything grossly abhorrent, there's certainly a magical quest going on. And if you don't join them in their magical quest, you're a square of some kind. You're straight. No sooner do you meet them, but they ask you to believe certain things. The belief in which actually makes it easier to know them. They insult you, like Jason Bourne, they'll stick a knife in you, and then they'll give you something to help solve it. And then they become the supplier of the disease and the cure, and you become a dependent. They become like a little Rockefeller medical industry. And that's how the sexual predator is, right? Sting and then cure. They are the sting and they are the cure. And you have to be polite to them, but you don't want to get too attached to such people. You don't want to be around them. Now, in some cases, you have to sort of get them to, you know you're going to see them again, and you don't want to be friends with them because it just takes too much now. They've shown you that this is not in your favor. They expect it to be. They expect you to assume that it is in your favor to put up with them. And they're not inclined to listen, they're not inclined to see, and so they are inclined to be too aggressive. They are a very polite invading force in the world. No sooner does the sociopath or sexual predator in any industry or gender make themselves known to you, but they invade your space, even in very friendly ways. No matter what they do, they always know how to invade someone's space. Like, in some sense, their space in the world as they imagine it includes your space. In a way, a police officer can go into someone's face and say, hey, you're getting too close to me. Like, they're confused, even though they walked up to you, that they think you walked up to them. Like if you're sitting in a car, your mom or dad's car, you think it's moving because the car beside you just is pulling out.